Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's the commander of the Cosmic Armada, Wolph Nara, here back to bring you another discussion type video for One Piece. Today we're going to be talking about my favorite admiral. Actually Townsy brought it to my attention today, is that he thought my favorite admiral was Akainu because of my character profile. Personally, I'm just a fan of fire. He was the only one who was able to actually form something from his element. From what we've seen, he made the magma hound. So I made my wolf. She ain't from Wolph Nara, actually the magma wolf for Akainu's fruit. However, he's actually not my favorite admiral. So let's get started with the video.
Who really a factor? I done grew up as a bastard, stepped out the wound into a disaster. Designing drugs and guns on my city after, pray for the lackers. Cause it only get worse and they try to blame it on the rappers. Label was factors. My rappy told me sign an affidavit like my life and my family ain't matter. Do you know how I feel to get served to the court on the platter? That shit that happened. You know life fell soon like the months in the wound that your mama went through never happened. Seeing another lady, your baby was killed every summer, that shit like a pattern.
Now, when I was doing the catch-up of One Piece back when I was about 13 to 14 years old, I came across this Sabaody archipelago arc, and then my favorite admiral was introduced. My nigga rolled in on the cannonball.
Oh, Kizaru.
And he was just like, yeah, so what was my job exactly? Oh, I just gotta capture these guys. Okay, cool, let me just go knock it out the way. And so just already the nonchalantness of him just flying, because no one has rolled a cannonball across sea. You have Garp who threw a giant cannonball. However, with light, we know it's seamlessly weightless. So Kizaru riding the cannonball, because we know that mass does equal weight essentially, and Kizaru is not a small guy. So with him being light, he's as light, which is really weird to say, but he's as light. So he's able to travel on that cannonball without actually being able to decrease the speed of a cannonball. So next, my favorite topic in school was physics and astronomy, mostly physics. And so we're gonna have to talk about the physics a little bit, because what I'm saying, hey, if you seen the Sanji video, nigga, I am a science fucking junkie, nigga. Hey, if it's science, I'ma look into it. So now I know with Albert Einstein, he explained that light travels along a kind of like a net surface. That's how light travels in space, is along a net surface. And so when gravity is pretty much excessive amount of gravity is pretty much present, then the light bends, necessarily lose any of its speed. However, some of the light gets trapped into the object. So light is pretty much affected by gravity. One of the things I really did enjoy about Kizaru is when he forms the little mirror, and then he actually refracts off the light of the window. Like, that's one of the small things I really do enjoy about One Piece. They kind of showed that Kizaru, he's able to travel fast distances or long distances in small amount of time. However, it has to be something that his light can reflect off of to get him there. So he's unable to travel straight into a straight path. He's more of kind of like bouncing around off different light fixtures. So during that scene when he kind of attacks Apu, he was bouncing off the windows themselves of the buildings to get to Apu, and that's how he was able to get to Apu quicker. So now we have another scene where he talks about speed equals power, and I really enjoy that, because that's another thing in physics. The faster you go, the stronger the impact is when you finally hit something, when you come to stop. If the object that is not in motion is more sturdy than what you are when you're moving that fast, then you actually crash into the object, of which it doesn't break apart or anything like that. It's just more of, it stops you in your tracks. While if you're moving faster than the durability of the object, then therefore you bypass that durability, and that extra amount of energy that gets produced from how fast you're going pretty much gets applied to the force when you hit something. And so if that speed and that energy that is produced from that speed doesn't equal to the amount of force it takes to destroy that object, then it won't get destroyed. And so one of my favorite things is him saying that light equals power, and then him saying that, have you ever got kicked at the speed of light? And nigga, amazing. That was like one of the best lines. And then he proceeds to kick Basil Hawkins in slow motion, because I feel that we were watching everything. Whenever we see Kizaru, we don't necessarily watch it from the other people's perspective. We watch his attacks from his perspectives, and so we see that he's actually moving slow. And so it kind of got me thinking, is Kizaru slowing himself down when he fights lower tiered opponents, lower classed opponents? Because I really do feel like it's from his perspective, because if it was from the other people's perspective, we wouldn't really be able to perceive his attacks. For example, not necessarily the example is going to be for One Piece, the example is actually going to be from Dragon Ball Z. When Frieza says they have 5 minutes, essentially all of the fighting they did in that hour long time in regards, or I think it's like 5 or 6 hours, something like that, long time in regards to the animation, all that did happen in 5 minutes. Is just that the phenomenon was moving so fast. If they was actually able to use the speed that they was moving at the time, we wouldn't really be able to watch it, because they would be moving too fast for our naked eye to be able to see. So now with Kizaru, he pretty much slows himself down to a degree where the characters in One Piece are at least able to look at what's going on right before the initial impact. So right before he kicked Basil Hawkins, Basil begins to kind of look over at the kick, and then the kick hits him. And so then in the anime, I don't know if this is anime only, but after he kicks Basil Hawkins through the building, Basil's body kind of converts into light because of how fast he is, and he crashes into the building at that speed. So essentially, when you get kicked by Kizaru, you may get pushed at the speed of light, in which your body or the atoms in your body kind of disperse, in which then you become light particles or photons, which is kind of like the basic building blocks of light itself in that moment, until you crash into that object. And then keep in mind that speed equals strength. So since he's sending you, although he's kicking you with the speed of light, you get hit with that initial impact, and then you get sent back at the speed of light, in which you get hit with that initial impact when you crash into something. So later on in Marineford, we do see that Kizaru has an interaction with Whitebeard. Whitebeard begins to swing his I can't think of his weapon, his like staff pretty much, downward at Kizaru. Kizaru then converts himself into photons, smaller light particles, the basic building blocks of light itself, and then reforms himself on top of the weapon accurately, and then shoots Whitebeard directly in the forearm, seemingly being able to damage him. So now the reason that is really relevant, at least in regards to why I like him, is because one, now that we see, well, I'm kind of like putting everything into perspective now in regards to recent events. So now that we see that Yonko, or at least Big Mom and Kaido, are not able to get damaged unless some type of Ryo is applied, and they're able to get small cuts and bruises, then Kizaru automatically, I'm not saying he's an admiral, so of course he knows Ryo. It's shown when he reflects the earthquake that Whitebeard sends over to him, well, to the scaffold, and then him, Akainu, Aokiji blocks it with Ryo, saying that basically, even though the devil fruit is strong, if the armor for the Ryo is stronger, then it kind of negates the devil fruit power. It's pretty much the same thing with being able to touch a logia with regular armament haki. So we see that he has some knowledge of Ryo, so he is able to at least be able to compete with these Yonko. He actually damaged Whitebeard, which is a real relevant thing, because not too many people can damage someone who is regarded as the strongest man in the world. He damaged him while Whitebeard was off guard in regards to the laser he shot. However, Whitebeard did know that there was a confrontation, or at least a scuffle, that he was having with Kizaru at the time. Constantly, Kizaru was stated throughout the Marineford, was saying that whoever has their guard down, the war means you're going to lose. It's the same way as losing. And so with that ideology, it made me respect him all the more. Then you have him saying like, yeah, I'll pull up to Wano. So basically saying like, nigga, we not ducking no fade. So he bit the smoke. So now we do know that when you become the devil fruit, or when you eat the different food, you become the element itself. So Kizaru's speech patterns, he is regarded as kind of like a nonchalant character, but he speaks really slow. So is he also not only slowing down his speed so weaker opponents can see what he's doing, but is he slowing down his vocal patterns so much, or his vocal cords from vibrating so much to form the words, so that we're able to understand what he's saying? Because if you're technically someone made of light or a light being, then that means even your vocal cords will be moving at the speed of light. So that's why he kind of like hangs on or drags out when he says words. So he, like, for example, ooh, Ben Beckman. So he made sure that we're able to kind of like understand exactly what he's saying. So I feel like we never really seen Kizaru get serious, even when he was interacting with the Dark King Rayleigh. He was never like drawing. He never drew blood. Rayleigh never drew blood from him. When he was interacting with Whitebeard, same thing. He kind of treats everything as if it's kind of like a game to him. And so let me know what you guys think of my favorite admiral. What you think of Kizaru? What do you think he's going to be relevant to the story later? Do you feel like, because I know Sanji's going to end up fighting him, especially after this chapter when Sanji also stated that speed, because I can move faster, I can actually have more weight, and it leads to more power behind the initial blow. I feel like he's going to also have that fight with Kizaru. We see that Sanji dodged the jelly bean from Katakuri. Even though Katakuri had future sight, he didn't activate this future sight until after he shot the jelly bean. However, he did dodge the jelly bean from a nigga who could see in the future. So now it kind of brings me to a sideways thought. I was going to end the video, but now it got me thinking, does for Kizaru to actually operate his troop at maximum proficiency, will he actually need to have future sight to be able to tell where the person is going? Because when he begins to chase Appu, he appears directly in front of Appu as if he knew this was going to be the spot where his light fruit drops him off at, pretty much, or where he can pretty much be right in front of him preemptively, especially if we take into account how fast he's moving. But anyway, does my boy got the future sight? You feel me? Did that haki bloom for my boy? But anyways, been your boy Wolph Nara, commander of the Cosmic Armada, leader of the Cosmic Armada. Like, comment, and subscribe. I need to probably start doing that at the beginning of the video. I'm out.
They know why I'm throwing up L's. As long as I'm alive, they won't forget you. Take me to them days when no took them gang, thinking like, damn, I remember.